Hi, welcome to the StockinetteZombies. I'm Amy, also known as Janitma.
And I'm Megan, also known as Just Run It. And this is episode 288. And we're going to talk about tips and tricks today, which sometimes become like super obvious. And other times they're like, what's my tip and trick going to be?
Right.
I feel like there's things that I'm doing in my knitting right now that would be a good tip and trick, but I've possibly already talked about it, right? Like on Megan's Monday Musing, I just provisionally cast off the sleeves of the cardigan I've been working on. So I could talk about that, but yeah, anyway, it feels like things that I've already talked about. So I wanted to do something fresh and exciting. Talking about fresh and exciting, there are white things falling from the sky.
Yes, I see mine, out the window as well.
And it's not hail. Earlier this week, while I was cleaning off my yarning room table, it was like hail. It was like pellets that were coming out of the sky.
Yeah.
It's actual snow, and it's accumulating.
Yeah. Well, there was like the internet said like more than 3 inches, and the local guy said 1 to 2. So I'm like, well, it's more than one. Or,
Yeah.
that's the prediction. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels a little, again, we had this whole conversation at Craft and Chat last Wednesday. Like when you're not going anywhere, it can be really like idyllic and beautiful, right? Like the whole, and since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, right? But then it's also like this is going to be our lives for how many ever months, right? Oh, yeah.
I
It feels
know.
too soon, too soon.
Yeah, no, and I really feel for, people who are stuck without things to do, and I feel for people who are stuck with, without family, with family. I mean, it's all a unique experience for everybody. And like when I'm climbing the walls and I want to leave, I
Yep.
try to get that perspective, but yeah, I don't like the new normal.
Yeah. So yeah, I pulled out my snow thank you.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was like, it's snowing, snow thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I am
Which is
wearing
like,
the
both, it's
rack.
double entendre, right? Like, thank you for the snow, but also no thank you.
Right. No, I am not wearing a sweater I knit. So
Yeah. It's I'm really been digging. So this is Jill Draper Make Stuff. It's a really sheepy base, but I'm super digging this kind of recent scummy green that I've been seeing a lot. And this has kind of got a marl on it as well that I absolutely love. I don't remember talking about it on the podcast. It was part of the Minnesota 52 book, and it's available for individual download now. But I don't know if I didn't have the sample to like hold up and wear. Or I've just conveniently forgotten all about it. But I was like, it's now back in my closet. I'm going to grab it because it's no.
right. No, I've been going through the closet to get things done anyway. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's a whole nother episode and tips and tricks. Like I need to go through my closet. So I need you to talk about your process. But we have hellos from the live audience of Claire, Julia, Allie, and Cheryl.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for joining us in midday. Hope where you're at, you're either getting the snow that you want or are not getting any snow because you don't want it.
Yeah. I mean, so far I'm not bothered by it, but we really don't have a lot in our fridge right now for supper. So I'm like, well, hopefully it doesn't snow too much because I might have to go out or call somebody to drive in. I always feel bad for like, oh, it's like 3 feet of snow out there. I just want to call for pizza.
Yeah. 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 We got 68 degrees and Claire says she wants snow. So we should send some snow her way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I could.
Yeah. All right. Did you want to talk about your tip and trick?
Yeah, sure. So I am knitting on my Faraway Dreams.
For the Hohe Fall KAL. Oh,
Yeah,
it's looking so pretty.
Yeah, so it's one of these really giant shawls, right? And it's got like I forget what the number is, over 600, probably closer to 700 stitches around that you need to knit on. And then, you know, nearly an entire skein went into this section here. And I think about
Wow.
10 rows in, I started wondering if I was going to have enough yarn.
Mm-hmm.
So my tip and trick is just buy a scale.
Yeah.
So I have this little handy dandy scale and I keep it close by. It's probably not out all the time, but it's close by. And then I can take the ball that I have remaining and put it on there, get a number, knit one round, put it on there again, and just see how many grams one round takes. And then just kind of do a quick estimate. If I have 14 rounds left, what's that mean for this remaining ball of yarn? And that just helps alleviate some of that yarn chicken stress. So I ended
Yeah.
up with not an insignificant ball left. There's probably at least 20 grams in there. And so I don't know why I was panicking, but I know that I was around halfway when I measured it and said, ooh, there's only 60 some grams left. And so I thought for sure it was going to eat up more of that. But it did, the lace did open up towards the end. So there were probably fewer yards being used. And just setting that down and measuring it and giving myself that peace of mind really does help. So that's my tip or trick. If you don't have a yarn scale, down to the grams, because sometimes, one around will just be a gram or two. That is
so how
really
many points of precision does yours have? Because like I've got this one, I think somebody joked in one of our knit nights that this is also what drug dealers use, which yarn is my drug, so that's super apt. But it's like collapsible, right? So you could throw it in or it has a protective cover, so you can throw it in your yarn bag. And I think I got it super cheap off of Amazon. But the one that I got that was specifically like a yarn scale only had it to like, you could just have like 5 grams or 6 grams or 7 grams. And so this one's got like 0.00 on the grams, I believe, or maybe a point. Oh, I'm looking at ounces right now.
Yeah, mine has
it's got 1 point of precision after. So that really helps, because sometimes, like you just said, you could knit something and it wouldn't like push it over the edge, and then the next round you could end up like 2 grams, right? Versus like not 1 gram on the previous one, just because of how it was.
Yeah, mine has a 10th.
Okay, so same. Yep.
Yeah. So, definitely want a precise. And again, a lot of people in the comments on these scales on Amazon, if you read in the comments, there's a lot of comments of oregano. Like I'm gonna measure my oregano. And
again, I have no problem buying something that somebody else that was measuring something that needs it very precise.
No, it doesn't bother me at all. But you might have a good scale if the comments talk about oregano.
Also, follow-up tip on your tip. You can also use scales like this to measure things if you're going to mail it. And there were quite a few people when we were doing our when we did swap buddies earlier in the year, that had not realized that if you have a PayPal account, you can use their shipping option, and all you have to do is input how much the package weighs. And so the scale is double duty if you use it for that. So
Yep, definitely something I learned while doing this podcast is that if you have a PayPal account, you can use their in-house shipping, and it is discounted from walking to the office.
Yep. And it's convenient, right? If you've got a mail carrier that'll pick up packages at your front door, then you don't even have to go to the post office. So, and I have some tutorials that I could probably link that we did when we did that swap. So super easy peasy. And it, yeah, definitely opened up a lot of venues in my life. I've used it a lot. I've used it a lot. My tip, in addition to the tips that I've added to your tip, was that I had my yarning room table that I kind of had a shame moment at the last Craft and Chat, last VKN on Wednesday, where I was like showing people my wallpaper, and then people were like, show me your table. And I was like, I am so embarrassed. There was like 6 months of detritus on my yarning room table. And it was just like it was an analogy for my mind, right? It was cluttered. I couldn't find things. It was overwhelming. You were going to say something?
Oh, you just used a what do they call those? A $10 word, detritus.
Yes. Well, again, that just really explains what it was, right? It was like odds and ends of projects that I had finished and didn't like put the needles and the spare yarn into my spare yarn storage solutions. It was purchases, some of them still in the box because I was trying to lure myself to finish some things before I opened the pretty yarn packages. It was socks that needed darned. It was socks that no longer fit my boys that needed to be like rehomed, but I didn't want to put them in a donation pile and have like somebody at like, the Savers or March of Dimes or whatever just go like, well, who would have these, and throw them in the trash, right? So tried to rehome stuff. I'm trying to think. I had Allbirds boxes in there. I'm like, well, if I wear the Allbirds and then they don't fit quite right, I'm going to need to ship them back. So I kept the Allbirds packages. It was just like, everything that was floating around in my mind just got set on this table. And I absolutely had to force myself. I took fall break off for our kids had Thursday and Friday off for the Minnesota Educators. I think we figured out it was Alliance. And I had the time off and I was like, I'm going to do this. I don't want to do this. I would much rather sit down and have like my comfort of knitting on my project and finishing it. And I won't have much to show for what I've done other than a clean table and a clean mind. But after I got done with it, every time I walk by it now, I am just I'm like, oh, look at how clean the table is. And I know exactly what my next project's going to be. And I know that these are like design yarns that need to be next on my needles. And these are packages I need to mail out. So like we've got some new ZKN members. Hello, if you're watching, that I need to send out their patches. And like it's so, the organization makes me happy. Doing the organization, not so generally.
Yeah.
I'd rather be knitting.
I'm like, I had it in my brain, but I forgot it. There's a new organizational show on Netflix, and they are like kind of famous in the organizational world because they have a book and they have their own products at Container Store or whatever.
It's ringing a bell, but I don't have the name.
Yeah. But they're, just watching those shows makes me want to try to do that kind of stuff. And I did a little bit here, a little bit there. And I always think about product now. After watching all of their episodes, I keep thinking, well, what product can help me get organized? And so I have these bins back here that are half bins from Target.
I have those in full bin height. And I'm planning on Marie Kondoing all of my sweaters into it, right? So that they are like, I can see all of them at a glance versus having to unpile off of the top of each other. But yeah, that's another project that I have been avoiding. I bought bins like that with the very thought that I was going to do it and do spring cleaning. That's how long they've been sitting in front of my closet. And it'll happen.
Yeah, definitely have been eyeballing ordering like 4 more of these for these bins here.
You figured out they fit into your,
Yeah, I bought 2 thinking, okay, I'll see if they work. And they're actually working out pretty good. So now I'm like, oh, I need 4 more for the messy shelf, the part of the shelving that don't look like they're presentable. And then I want to further organize. Yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
so that I have what do we call those, naps next up? Next on the
Yeah, needle adjacent projects. Yeah.
needle adjacent project. Yes.
Yep.
If
No,
I
I've got
have,
a lot of those now too, because I've been looking at all of my scraps, right? So these scraps were all hiding. These project bags are stuffed into like these big catch-alls. And I'm like, oh, I've got enough DK left over from, I think, my silver lining and a few other things that I wanted in a Camaro sweater. But anyway, that wasn't the point of my tip and trick, although it is fun when you uncover some things to be like, oh, I've got enough of this to do another project. Valerie says spring will come again. I love you, Valerie. Thank you. I could do spring cleaning a little early, maybe. But yeah, I think it's definitely helped my general sense of anxiety that there isn't just like a bunch of work piled up literally waiting for me. And so that would be my tip and trick would be the allure of that high at the end, power through and do it, right? Reclaim the needles. I don't have a lot of whips that are kind of been, sleeping for a while. Some people put things in timeout and never get back to them. But I can imagine that once you make that decision, kind of like the Marie Kondo, does it bring you joy thing, that you're going to rip it out and do something else with it, that would be very freeing as well. But yeah, no, I'm super happy with my yarning room table. And now when stuff gets set on it, it gets dealt with because it's not hiding behind a bunch of other stuff too. So clean up your workspace. Cleans your mind and your general organization. So yeah,
I'm
and I
looking
think
at
that
my desk over here, so
yeah,
like maybe I should do that.
well, I was thinking now that the yarning room table's cleared, like I could sit at it and work versus sit here if I wanted to and have like a really wide. But anyway, all that to say, super excited that I finally took on that project and got it done. Yeah, that would be my tip and trick.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do we have any administrati that we missed? I think we've got a Discord. And then of course I cleaned up the yarn. It's in a prize pile that I didn't grab. But we had the Super Bowl, the Burley hand spun that we were doing a giveaway for, the Burley sheep, the brown sheep Burley spun, that I split into, or I caked it up. My Stanwood Needlecraft skein winder or ball winder caked it up. It was a little touch and go in some places because that super bulky kind of doesn't like to wrap around on itself and it gets really poofy. But we need to draw a winner there. And you can either choose one of the 3 colors that I showed, or you can have like a sampler pack of a couple of them. So some of the projects people posted were just single color. So I wanted to be cognizant of that. I'm going to start. Last time we had a bunch at the very top because so I'm going to keep it in the corner of my eye whether or not I've hit the bottom or the top, and you tell me when to stop.
Stop.
All right, we have Sparkle Punk. Lisa would like to make a pair of the Woodland loafers. And this was one that I made for the
nice.
Megan's Monday Musings last fall / Christmas time period. They are a super fun knit and they are so fast. And I think your mom will absolutely love them, Lisa. So if you want to let me know, there was a purple, a green, and a blue, I believe. So yeah, contact me and I'll get that in the mail. Awesome. Congratulations to you, Lisa. And what else? We've got our last of the ZKN invitations went out for ZK 2021. Just to clarify, we are planning, we're holding hope in our hearts, as Pat would say, that 2021 will be able to be an in-person event, perhaps with some modifications with face masks and grouping and whatever, but we're holding hope in our heart that that will be an in-person event, not a virtual one, and we will pivot much like we did this year hopefully be able to, cancel and have a virtual event if needed.
Mhm.
But for now, I'm excited that people are planning trips, and that in and of itself has a value, right?
Yes, yeah. The thinking about the future and with joy and hope is
Mhm.
much needed. And so
Yes.
I'm enjoying sending out that invitation and
Mhm.
seeing people roll in enthusiastically, yes, please. And
Mhm.
so, yep, the last of the ZKN folks have been notified with the
Mhm.
invitation. If you did not receive one, you believe that this is an error, contact us. We don't want to miss you.
Mhm.
Uh, there
We
are
did.
limited spots,
Yep.
although we did have a small miscount. So there's a few more than we thought there were, but
There is.
not gobs and gobs.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, and I don't know what we were thinking. Like last night, we were just like scratching our heads, like, where did those extra spots come from?
It's okay. Spreadsheets are great. Sometimes things go awry, but we're definitely nearing the end of the spots that will be available. So we can't guarantee that there will be any that go public, which is new to us. But with the deferments and offering them to the ZKN folks, we're excited because that's kind of a reunion of people that might not have possibly ever unioned in person, which was kind of, the premise behind the original ZK, zombie podcast watchers and community members, board members, as we used to call them. Do you remember what we called them, that, Amy?
No.
Yeah. I remember calling them board members because on Ravelry they're called boards.
Oh yes, okay.
But anyway, I'm punny, but I'm bump. Um, yeah, and I'm just so excited by it. Yeah, we had a great turnout, and I got enabled by a lot of stuff for our fall festival FO show off, our show, which is recorded for ZCAN members that they can go back and watch if you want to be enabled as well. And gave away prizes there for folks that participated. We're going to do game night on Friday, which is fun and exciting. Drawful is definitely not the game that I feel that I am best at.
No.
Whiplash is better. Whiplash is better for me, but we'll do Drawful. And we can pivot if other people are like, I don't like Drawful. But again, no install needed. It's all just via web on your devices if you want to participate. And then there's voting.
Yep, much better to have a tablet for that one though. It's something you
I've done
can.
it on my phone.
Well, I mean, just something you can
Something
use your
with
finger to
touch.
draw.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You can't do it on your
like
well, I don't could you do it on your with a mouse on your desktop? Maybe.
I don't know, but it would be really difficult.
Yeah, agreed. Yes. But we'll cover all of that on Friday. And then kind of a new to ZKN, but not new to us. At ZK 2020, we had a drop-in table that was just available throughout the event. And we're going to try that on Saturday for folks that want to hang out. And that will be unmoderated, right? So Amy and I won't be there to kind of moderate as it were, or break people out into breakout rooms, or if somebody needs help spotlighting or whatever, we won't be there, not to minimize what or maximize what we do, and we'll be there. So hopefully those can be used responsibly, and we won't have any issues, and then and people can have a space to drop in. So
Yep,
yep,
sounds
yep.
good.
Yeah, I don't think I have much else.
Bye.
Enjoy the snow. Yeah. Bye. It's done.